National Security Minister Kandapa has admitted it could be possible former members of vigilante groups may have been recruited as national security operatives. Mr. Dapa, however, thought of suggestions operatives deployed during last month's Ayawaso West Wuogon by-election were responsible for the gunshot wounds sustained by some members of the public near the home of the NDC candidate. The minister appeared before the Emil Short Commission, tasked to, among others, probe violence that erupted during the by-election. JoyNews' Joseph Akable was at day one of the hearing and has come through with this report.
We will count on the cooperation of all and sundry for the ultimate objective of investigating the violence and related incidents surrounding the conduct of the elections on the 31st January 2019.
That was how the commission's hearing commenced. Justice Short appealing for support. Interior Minister Ambrose Derry was the first to testify. He distanced his ministry from the masked men seen during the by-election.
As normally is the case, when I get any report, the reports are either simply oral through the phone, sometimes photographs and videos. So when I got the video, I forwarded it to the IGP and he says, these are not part of my men.
He further stated that police branded vehicle used by the masked men were not that of the police service.
He denied that that was not a police vehicle in use by the police. And he in fact told me, Minister, our vehicles have GP. What is the GP number? It is not our vehicle.
He wrapped up his testimony by assuring the commission his ministry was bent on dealing with political party vigilantism, which many analysts have blamed as the root cause of the violence that marred the election.
The prosecutor or lawyer, as you are saying, sentence the person, and all those are illegal and unacceptable, and they must be condemned. And we intend.
His colleague Albert Kandapa, who heads the National Security Ministry, was forthcoming with information about the masked men who were deployed on the day. He first indicated he ignored advice against testifying publicly and then shared some details on why the SWAT team was deployed.
It had been approved. The operation itself had been approved by the Director of Operations at the National Security Secretariat. I'm told, Honorable Chairman, that for this operation, they acted based on intelligence report that there were weapons in a building within the constituency where the by-election was to take place.
He shared with the commission the briefing he had received from his men who caused the assault of Nigo Prampram MP Sam George.
A member of the SWAT team reminded him that, Honorable, you are causing fear and panic. It is not true that anybody died at that incident. We were there. You are causing fear and panic, and you should stop that. Apparently, the Honorable Member of Parliament did not take kindly to that, went towards where the boy was standing, the operative was standing. The operative also bet him halfway, and I understand he was hit.
He was emphatic the operatives could not have been responsible for those who got injured on the day.
Later, they also said they heard gunshots coming from within the compound of the house. Our boys then gave some 6 warning shots, which they tell me did not hit anybody. But obviously, I await the end of the investigations to find out exactly what happened and how many shots they fired and whether it did hit somebody.
Minister of State in charge of National Security, Brian Achampo, who was the last to testify, told the commission the officer alleged to have assaulted the MP has since been excused from operational duties, with the security hierarchy availing him for possible interrogation by the police.
Let me also put on record, Madam, that I have instructed the Director of Operations to ensure that all the people, especially the one that was seen on video, to have reacted to the Honorable Member of Parliament to be removed from operation until and made available to the police. And yesterday, I, in my office, made sure that the commander of the unit, the CID PDP, came and took his statement. And I believe that if they deem it necessary to act on anything in the statement, including arresting the person that reacted to the minister, I believe the police will do so when they conclude their investigation. But that officer is available at any time to the police for questioning.
The Inspector General of Police and Director of Operations for Greater Accra are expected to testify before the committee on Friday.
Now, let's listen to the National Security Minister Kandapa admitting that it is possible former members of the vigilante groups may have found their way into the national security apparatus.
There is this general belief within the country, and that actually forms the conversation going around, that this group you describe as security operatives are actually part of a vigilante grouping within the new patriotic party. What do you have to say about that?
Definitely not true. Definitely not true. If the suggestion is that included in the operatives are people who normally belong to a particular vigilante group, no, that would be surprising. If some of them in the past had participated in some vigilante groups, that probably could be possible. But, Mr. Chairman, it is important to know about these political vigilante groups that we have in the country. There isn't one political vigilante group that belongs to a political party. The CDD has just come up with a study which establishes that these vigilante groups are owned by some individuals.
Members of the Short Commission had cause during Thursday's hearing to question the way and manner the security operatives deployed on the day of the Ayawaso West Wuogon by-election went about their operation and the quality of intelligence. We will be analyzing some of the responses given by the National Security Minister Kandapa. Before then, though, let's watch one such encounter.
You talked about how the national security people found themselves in that area on that day, and you indicated that they acted on an intelligence report and that it was when they got there that they found it was the home or house of the NDC candidate. Am I correct?
Not house in terms of residence. He doesn't live there, but he was using, or he has been using that building, I think, as a warehouse. But whatever they use that he normally uses it for, that day, it was more or less one of the operational headquarters of the NDC candidate.
You said it was when they arrived that they discovered this. You mean the intelligence did not disclose who owned the place?
They found out when they got there that the place was owned by the NDC candidate. The intelligence must have told them earlier before going there, or they must have found it when they got there. I need to get an answer to this specific question from the commander.
I would appreciate hearing the answer myself, because I cannot believe that an intelligence report that guns or at least arms and ammunition, are being stockpiled in a particular locality, and no effort would be made to find who owned it before operatives moved in there?
It depends upon when they got the intelligence and the time available to them to have gone to do an earlier surveillance. It's not something surprising to me that they go there only to find that it belonged to a particular person. But again, it's important we know the exact position. And this, I believe, we will get it from the commander himself. At what point in time did he get the intelligence?
Now we're going to stay with the Commission's work for a while, and security analyst Colonel retired Festus Obwaje joins us now with his thoughts on day one of the proceedings. Good evening to you, and thank you for your time. Now, what are your observations from the Commission's first day sitting?
Hello.
Yes, Colonel Obwaje, I'd want to know what your observations are from the Commission's first day sitting.
Well, thanks a lot for having me on your show. Well, I think it's the first day, and there are many more witnesses to appear before the Commission. Is he talking to me or you're talking to me?
Colonel Festus Obwaje, you're speaking with Israel Lai on JoyNews Prime.
I've switched off my TV, so let me come in again.
All right, so let me ask you again. I'm asking, what are your observations from the Commission's first day sitting?
So I was trying to suggest that it's very early days yet, and there are many more witnesses, potential witnesses, that would have to appear before the Commission. My broad observations are that there have been some degree of contradiction among the statements delivered by the three ministers. And I find in the statements, again, some amount of inconsistencies and potential inaccuracies.
Could you point us to some of these inconsistencies and potential inaccuracies?
Well, I think the first contradiction relates to the command and control of the operation, precisely whether it was a police-led operation or whether it was led by a police officer, not under the chain of command of the IGP directly, but under the chain of command of the Director of Operations. I find that a bit difficult because the Minister for Interior was categorical that the operations were not conducted by the police, including the fact that, or according to him, that the vehicles were not police vehicles. But this was contradicted by the Minister of State, who said that, the vehicles and 25 out of the 60 men and possibly women who were involved in the operation came from the Ghana National Police Service on assignment to the National Security Council or the National Security Ministry.
Now, in addition to these contradictions that you have raised, the minister also suggested there could be former Vigilante group members recruited as national security operatives. To what extent does this affect public confidence in state security?
Well, I think that would be a very dramatic situation if that is true. But it wouldn't be surprising. And it speaks to the questions around vetting of the men and women that will recruit into our national security services. Given the tensions around political vigilantism, it is arguable that it will not be in the national interest for persons who are members of vigilante groups associated, directly controlled by the political parties or as and when necessary, used by them to be members of the national security architecture. That will not be in the national interest. But given that he himself admitted that he needs to go and check the facts, and we need to actually go to the bottom of this, especially when persons who are responsible for recruiting and equipping and training and directing operations conducted under the National Security Ministry appear before the board. We need to get to the bottom of that.
All right. Now, there was also an indication from the minister that the intelligence-led operations team got to the venue before they realized it was actually the residence or a property owned by the NDC parliamentary candidate. Now, one of the members of the commission thought it was quite odd that that would happen. Do you also find that intelligence faulty or that reasoning faulty?
Well, given the depth and scope of the evidence that was brought before the commission, we need to nuance the questions and the answers. For instance, we need to find out whether this was a set-piece operation based on intelligence of a medium to short-term nature. So we're talking about a few days, during which it should have been a matter of procedure for the national security apparatus to do further reconnaissance of the scene, and in order to be able to plan into the last detail how the operations were going to be conducted. On the contrary, it could also be a snap operation that was based on intelligence of a very, very short-term nature, in which case they might have concluded that time would be lost if the operation was not mounted immediately. Now, the commissioner, I think, will need to find out where the line is drawn as to how old the intelligence was. In fact, the source of the intelligence, the nature of the intelligence, the credibility of the source, and of the accuracy of the intelligence itself. But on the surface of it, there is a lot to wonder about how the operation itself was conducted in terms of the formations that were adopted, in terms of whether fire control orders were issued, in terms of the drills that the men and women within the team of 60 conducted the operation. For instance, the after-action procedures regarding arrest and wounded persons. And I think on the surface of the video evidence that we have, it doesn't look like the 60-man group were actually responsible for attending to the wounded, aside of the arrest of the 6 persons or probably the 9 that 1 or 2 of the ministers attested to. So let us allow the commission a bit more time to try and resolve some of these gray areas around the information that is being provided or that has been provided by the witnesses so far.
All right. Thank you very much, Colonel retired Festus Abuaji, and he's a security analyst sharing with us his observations from the short commission's first day of sitting. Now, one other incident that came up, or one other encounter that came up, was the National Security Minister Kan Dapa talking about what the operatives did when they got to the scene or the home or the property owned by the NDC candidate in the Ayawaso West Wuogon by-election. He talked about the fact that they fired 6 warning shots. Let's hear him.
Later, they also said they heard gunshots coming from within the compound of the house. Our boys then gave some 6 warning shots, which they tell me did not hit anybody. But obviously, I await the end of the investigations to find out exactly what happened and how many shots they fired and whether it did hit somebody.
JoyNews video footage obtained by JoyNews suggests that the shots that were fired on the day were obviously more than 6. Let's watch this video.
Charlie, right now they point to the gun, come here.
Well, it's early days yet, and the commission's work just begun, and so we will await the conclusions of the short commission's work. The Inspector General of Police, David Asante, has declared zero tolerance for political vigilantism in Ghana. Speaking at a news conference in Accra on the current security situation, the IGP urged political parties to denounce all their vigilante groups who disturb the peace, vowing the groups will be dealt with irrespective of their political affiliation. Maxwell Agbagba was there for JoyNews.
The Inspector General of Police, David Asante, described political party vigilante groups as illegal. He declared zero tolerance for the groups and urged the country's political parties to denounce them.
We want to appeal to all political parties to immediately denounce their own vigilante groups, to create the necessary awareness that will embolden the police. Furthermore, if any political party intends to create new vigilante groups, we appeal for a reversal of such intention. The police are poised to arrest and profile any group of people claiming to be vigilante groups, irrespective of their political affiliation. We are declaring zero tolerance against political violence and vigilantism.
The IGP also announced a committee has been set up to investigate allegations of sexual harassment by a top officer of the Criminal Investigations Department. The wife of former legislator J.B. Dankwa, who was murdered some years ago, made the allegation some days ago.
Yes, we all heard about it. We read about it in the newspapers. And we have set up an investigative unit, a committee to investigate that matter. In fact, she's already been spoken to by one of our commissioners to invite her, and she's given us a time to come. So it's an ongoing investigation.
On the 3 kidnapped girls in the Western region, Deputy Director General of the Criminal Investigations Department, George Finibua, stated the suspect, Samuel Udotek Wills, has named an accomplice who is keeping the girls.
The suspect, Samuel Udotek Wills, has mentioned one John Nweke as the one keeping the girls, and all efforts are being made with our sister security and intelligence agencies, including the BNI, the Defense Intelligence, and the general public, especially the media, who are harping the song, Bring Back Our Tidy Girls, assisting in these investigations. measures taken to prevent recurrence of kidnapping. Currently, there's an ongoing public education through the traditional and social media. There's also intensification of foot and mobile patrols in our communities. We have reactivated our engagements with hoteliers, guest houses for information on persons with suspicious or questionable characters. We are currently upgrading our informant reward system to improve intelligence gathering mechanisms in the service. We are training personnel on interview and interrogation of kidnappers, since it's a new area that is engulfing our country. There has been an enhanced collaboration with other sister security investigative agencies, such as the BNI, Defense Intelligence, in our quest to prevent such recurrence.
We're taking a break here on JoyNews Prime to bring you showbiz, but still ahead in the bulletin. Speaker of Parliament pardons Asin Central MP Kennedy Japong despite being found guilty by Parliament's Privileges Committee and court.
Kennedy Japong, this House having found you liable for contempt before it takes any sanction against you, whether by way of suspension, by way of apology, or in any manner whatsoever, as this honorable court may find fit.
And court finds woman who slashed the hand of his stepson 1,020 cedis, or in default go to jail for 18 months, and the public is not happy. Go and sin no more. That is the admonition from Speaker of Parliament Michael Quay. Now, although the Privileges Committee found the Member of Parliament for Asin Central, Kennedy Japong, guilty for calling Ghana's Parliament cheap and useless, he was pardoned. Minority Chief Whip Muntaka Mubarak dragged Kennedy Japong to the Privileges Committee for calling Parliament describing Parliament in that way. The House approved the recommendation to reprimand him, but instead of suspending him. Before we bring you what happened in Parliament on Thursday, let's listen to what Kennedy Japong said back then.
Parliament nefu. I'm maybe a small boy now. Me Parliament I'm maybe 11,000 cedis. Parliament 107.1.
But Kennedy Japong insists he never said Parliament was useless.
Honorable Kennedy Japong, this House having found you liable for contempt before it takes any sanction against you, whether by way of suspension, by way of apology, or in any manner whatsoever, as this honorable court may find fit. We want to hear briefly from you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me opportunity to speak on the issue. Today is the first day the entire House is here to hear my side of the story. I have said that to the committee. And I want to repeat that some of the things that were said in the tape, they did not get the understanding clear.
Honorable members.
Before I apologize, I want to explain what exactly happened. I plead with the House to remove the word Parliament is useless, because I never said that Parliament is useless. And today, tomorrow, I'll still insist that I never use the word that Parliament is useless. The presenter did not allow me to finish. The moment I said Parliament, because Parliament is cheap, he didn't allow me to finish and he cut it. What I meant was that if Parliament is not cheap, the first vice chairman could not go on air and insult me like that, a member of Parliament. But the presenter cut it. So when you listen to the voice with anger and everything, I could not articulate my issues clearly. that is how it is seen. So I want to state clearly that I respect Parliament and I would never disrespect Parliament. Nobody is above the law. I don't feel shy apologizing because the first day I did apologize. You know, Honorable Mutaka made this allegation. I was never given opportunity even to cross-examine him. I have to go there because it's going on record.
Honorable,
I was never given opportunity.
Those who admit guilt and ask for forgiveness are very, very self-respect in the statements they make thereafter. And I will advise you.
Thank you very much.
In self-respect.
Mr. Speaker, the honorable member, first of all, is challenging your committee's report. That is one. Secondly, he prefixed his apology with if conditional. So, and Mr. Speaker, you rightly advise that you should take note and give the apology unconditionally. And then he sat down. So it is not clear if he has taken your advice to apologize unconditionally. So, Mr. Speaker, if we can give him the opportunity to come again, because the apology that he rendered, Honorable, the apology that he rendered is conditional. It's conditional.
And to reprimand is to in fact say, go and sin no more. All those in favor of reprimand say aye. Those against reprimand say no. The ayes have it. And this honorable house has adopted the pathway of reprimand.
Minority Chief Whip in Parliament, Muntaka Mubarak, says the decision is disappointing.
Well, that's the decision of Parliament. I mean, in Parliament, you always don't get what you really want. But I'm worried and disappointed because if the kind of things that he keeps doing, and this is the kind of apology that he renders and Parliament accepts it, well, we are all in the House, and the House decision, if you want to challenge it, you have to come properly. I don't intend to challenge it. I have nothing personal against him, but I'm disappointed because I thought that we are not helping our democracy in any way with the way we are running our House. That's all I can say for now.
Disappointed as well. You think the apology wasn't sincere enough?
I don't know whether when you read it, you thought that that was an apology. I don't see that as an apology. Okay. That was just an apology. There was no sincerity. I don't see the sincerity. He was virtually justifying almost everything that he did.
So that for you, better sanction, maybe a suspension should have been applied?
Not necessarily. Even if you wanted to reprimand it, you needed to get a proper apology. Because look, even in my view, looking at the way he continued to conduct himself, even with an apology, you will let her give him a shorter suspension. Maybe a week or two, just to send a signal that he must stop what he's doing. Even as late as 3 days ago, he was still insulting people. He's insulting the IGP, he's insulting everybody in this country. And we sit and allow democracy to be looked down upon this way? I don't see the remorse.
So that for you, the speaker didn't really handle the issues?
No. What else could the speaker do? He puts the question, members say this is the way they want it. That's it.
Adansa Sukwa MP Katie Hamlin, who is Canadian Japan's lawyer, says sleeping dogs should be left to lie.
The House has spoken, that should end it. And I think this matter is protracted for a very long time.
For you, but for you, was that sincere apology?
I think we can raise the matter
laced with
we're giving you quite a lot of press on this matter, interviews here and there. For once, I think we should guillotine the matter. The House has concluded this matter. Let us conclude it. would you press too?
Some say, with the way it's gone, others would have the guts to maybe still contempt Parliament and use words, that
Parliament has concluded on the report of the Privileges Committee on the matter of Kanagapon and the Parliament. Matter is over. I think we should give it a rest.
That's obviously a terrible thing to happen to an MP.
You were there, you heard all that happen. You were sitting in the press gallery, you heard all of it. So let's give it a rest.
Yeah, but his apology was conditional.
We'll give it a rest, don't we?
It's a dent on his reputation. It's obviously a dent on his reputation.
Give it a rest. The Parliament has decided, privileges, they brought their report. I think we can rest it. Let's rest the matter for now.
Thank you very much. No. So there's a second case.
That's a different matter. That's a different matter.
Because he's been asked to go and sin no more. He's been asked to go and sin no more. Meanwhile, there's a case pending against him already.
Well, that's an entirely different matter. As Speaker said, yes, whether that comment was in respect to all the outstanding matters or to this one, I've said it ad nauseam. I'm going to say it a trillion times. The matter is over. Let's get to wherever.
What advice are you giving your client in the light of all of this?
Should I tell you what I do know about client lawyer privilege?
Obviously, there's something every MP can pick on and take advice.
Client lawyer privilege. You don't go to the press what advice you've been given. You're going to get me held contempt, in contempt of a lot of listeners, because you are now telling me to divulge to you the advice that I'm giving my client. Is that fair?
But then to MPs generally, in the light of this,
I can't give it.
What lessons are you learning as MPs generally?
Come on, aren't we tired? You must be tired yourselves.
The woman who cut the hand of the her 5-year-old stepson has been fined 1,020 Ghana cedis, or in default serve 18 months in jail. Efwa Abedua pleaded guilty to the charge of causing harm to her stepson at the Ebura Dunkwa District Court. The court, presided over by Justice Anthony Tebri Abebrese, says he took into consideration the condition of the stepmother and the fact that she pleaded guilty to the charge. Richard Kodonyako was in court in our report.
The prosecutors amended the charge sheet to include Isaac Edufo, the man in charge of a facility that treated the boy when the left hand was almost decomposing. So 3 persons were put before court in connection with the 5-year-old boy. About 2 weeks ago, the stepmother and the biological father of the 5-year-old were remanded to reappear on the 14th of February. Efwa Abedua, in a green outfit and a protruding belly, had tears streaming down her cheeks. She pleaded guilty to the charge of causing harm to the boy and was fined 85 penalty units, equivalent to 1,020 Ghana cedis. The second accused, David Mensah, biological father of the boy, pleaded not guilty to the charge of abetment to the crime and has been remanded to prison custody to reappear on the 28th of February 2019, where a full trial will begin. The third accused, Isaac Edufo, who treated the boy at his facility, pleaded guilty to the charge of abetment, but with an explanation. The court rejected his explanation that he had compassion on the boy and wanted to do something to help him when the boy was brought to his facility. He told the court the boy was brought to him on the 21st of January 2019, and even though he did not have the requisite license, he had compassion on the boy and decided to treat him. Curious residents who filled the court today expressed their disappointment with the punishment meted out to the stepmother after the court's decision was announced. Some of them who spoke to JoyNews said the punishment to the stepmother was lighter considering the permanent damage caused to the boy. The amount of money she was fined was very small. It should have been double. I have 4 children. I am raising them alone. You should tell the judges to next time increase the fines. So do you think what they have done is good? They should have jailed the woman and left the man alone. The reason is that the man is not the one that committed the act. He was not even there when the boy's hand was cut. The man is just a palm wine tapper who goes to work early in the morning and comes home very late. A fine of 1,000 Ghana cedis is not good. It should have been higher than this. Meanwhile, the 5-year-old boy, according to the police, is responding to treatment at the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital. Richard Kwejenyako, Joy News, Cape Coast.
Relatives of the 3 kidnapped girls, Priscilla Blessing Bentum, 21 years, Ruth Love Quasing, 18 years, and Priscilla Mantebia Cranchi, 15 years, together with traditional authorities of the Diabene and Kansawurodo communities, have threatened to embark on a demonstration in the Sekende Takrady metropolis should the state fail to rescue their daughters by Monday, February 18, 2019. At a news conference in Takrady, the 3 families said the police is not doing enough to rescue their daughters, adding the story would have been different if the girls belonged to influential families. Natalia Kwanson's report.
The 3 families say every single day their daughters stay with the kidnappers, their pain deepens. Now the families say they have had enough of assurances from the police, adding they want the police to bring back their daughters immediately. If the police and government say our girls are alive, then we give them an ultimatum of 1 week to have a clue of the location of our girls, to reunite with them. I heard the police also requested some investigators from the UK and US. We are parents of the missing girls, and we haven't seen any positive outcome from their supposed visit. We are kept in the dark, and I am not updated by the police. All we want is to reunite with our girls. We plead and appeal to government to help us. We appeal to government to help us. We are appealing to government. We want to see our missing girls. The prime suspect, Samuel Odotek Wills, has been arraigned before the Takrady Magistrate Court a couple of times, and it hasn't yielded any positive outcome. We need the president to intervene and help bring back our girls. The suspect will later be arraigned for further court proceedings. All we ask is to reunite with our girls. We need to see them before Monday. The families, traditional authorities and residents of Diabene and Kansawurodo say they are surprised that the president has not made any public comment on the matter. They are therefore calling on President Akufo-Addo to intervene, else they would embark on a massive demonstration. Michael Grant Hayford spoke on behalf of the community.
22nd of this February, if possibly we are not getting our girls back, that means life and color 22nd. Boots for Boots is going to happen. Our demonstration name is Boots for Boots demonstration, 22nd of February.
The families are looking forward to the day they reunite with their daughters. Natalia Kwanson's reports for Joy News.
Right, that's it for the bulletin. My name is Israel. Thank you very much for watching. You have a good night.
This is Joy News Prime.